ఈ పుస్తకంలో ఫస్ట్ భాగంలో కొన్ని ఒకే ఆర్టికల్ ఉంది. తర్వాత వ్యవసాయ విప్లవంతో పాటుగా ఇంకొక ప్రత్యేకించి ఒక ఆర్టికల్ ఉంది. అది క్లాసిఫికేషన్ ఆఫ్ ద క్లాస్, అది ఎట్లా చేయాలి అంటే వర్క్ ఆఫ్ అనాలిసిస్, క్లాస్ అనాలిసిస్ ఎలా చేయాలి రూరల్ దాంట్లో. అందులో ఆయన అంబేద్కర్ కాంగ్రెస్ పార్టీ ఎట్లా బతుకున్నంత కాలం అంబేద్కర్ వ్యతిరేకంగా ఎంత విద్వేషాన్ని రెచ్చగొట్టింది, ఎంత వ్యతిరేకించింది అతను బ్రతుకున్న కాలంలో. కానీ తర్వాత ఆయన చనిపోయిన తర్వాత అంబేద్కర్ చనిపోయిన తర్వాత ఎట్లా ఓన్ చేసుకుంది, ఇవన్నీ అప్పటికే ఆయన రాశాడు ఆర్టికల్స్. అది మీరు నెక్స్ట్ వాల్యూమ్స్లో వస్తుంది. అది వ్యవసాయంలో కంటిన్యూషన్ ఒక విధంగా చెప్పాలంటే. నెక్స్ట్ ఫ్రీలాన్స్ జర్నలిస్ట్, ఆయన ఇంగ్లీష్లో మాట్లాడతారు. ఫ్రీలాన్స్ జర్నలిస్ట్ జనరల్ మన ఏపీలో ఉన్న వాళ్ళకి చాలా మంది తెలుసు, మనకు ప్రతి మీటింగ్స్కి వస్తూ ఉంటారు. అంత క్లోజ్గా ఇండియన్ రివల్యూషనరీ మూమెంట్ను ఆయన ఆబ్జర్వ్ చేయడం కాకుండా వరల్డ్ రివల్యూషన్ మూమెంట్ను కూడా ఆయన ఆబ్జర్వ్ చేస్తూ కౌంటర్ కరెంట్ ఇలాంటి మ్యాగజైన్స్లో రెగ్యులర్గా ఆర్టికల్స్ రాస్తూ ఉంటాడు. సో ఐ ఇన్వైట్ యూ టు.
I very much appreciate being invited by the KS Konja Place and Memorial Committee. It's a real privilege to come, be honored to one of the great martyrs of the Indian Revolution, a founder of one of the major groups of the Indian Revolution, which has given the roots of the revolutionary struggle. Very starting point of Konja Place is how he struggled from the very time of his, or the time of, from the very roots, the formative era from the Telangana struggle, right from there, got all his origins, and how he resurrected that in the time of Naxalbari struggle. Even at the helm of the highest repression, he could carry on work and to carry on movements in Naxalbari and Shikarpur under the leadership of the MP committee of CPML. And within the committee, he made a lot of work too. Even in the time of the independence, officially there were no mass organizations. The party, the CPML didn't call for mass organizations. He kept the thread of mass organizations being formed. And even in the time when the official line of Charumasundar and CPML was not to have mass organizations, he raised that wave. He raised the banner that at least we can have some mass plans, like Virasam was formed, and then later on. RSU and those Virasam in 1970, and later on other organizations. This was a significant part, that even at that time he did this. Then in 1974, he wrote a historical self-criticism, which is very important on the errors of the CPML, whether it was calling Mao China's chairman, or the banning of mass organizations, or China's chairman is our chairman, and just pursuing line of annihilation and the abandoning mass movements. And he pursued it. It was a very important line that led to the formation, which was part of the which actually came behind the formation also of the COC, the Central Organizing Committee, which he with Jagjit Singh Johar, who just died, and other Suniti Kumar Ghosh got this covered. But KS really triggered this off. This whole self-criticism of CPML, which eulogized the authority of the leader, annihilation of enemy, abandoned mass organization. And he worked very hard on it. And in 1977, he worked critically. There was peasant struggles in Jagtial, peasant struggles in Karimnagar. And he worked very hard on the road to working on those mass struggles to prepare. So even if he kept the squads, but he restrained arms to prepare for it. And that was very significant with the 1978 Jagtial movement. And that preparation till then, the emergency. And then of course, before that, the formation of Andhra Pradesh Radical Students Union. It was very significant in 74. Just had its 50th anniversary. And he insisted on the question of persisting with the line of the new democratic and Mao thought in that. And he laid the whole guidelines of which whatever a lot of other people on the whole question of how we have to raise the level of armed resistance. And we can never compromise on that. And that happened even in the time of emergency time. He organized the IRA. Later on, when the splinters in the COC, he formed the CPML People. That was a historic thing, which started off is continued and led to the people's war group, and it led to an armed struggle in the areas of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, a very significant movement. And it had such intensity that had never happened in this country perhaps before since the time of Naxalabad. But this time it worked on the line of having mass organization and mass fronts. Like the APRSU, the Radical Youth League that was called. And they had the historic go to village campaigns. Stirred the spirit, the new democratic peasantry. Rallied, and is very significant, rallied the landless peasants, the tribals, and the landed peasantry. And this is very important in places like Karimnagar, Japti, a lot of areas. But the united front could be formed of the poor peasantry and the landless peasantry, or basically the Dalits, and then the Adivasis in the tribal areas. The various struggles, various also massacres which heroically were resisted, like Indravati, when there were a lot of significant things in Karan Challu for the Dalits. So this went, and one of the very significant parts is how because of KS leadership, the party could withstand very, very intense repression. And to do that was really historic. It was the way of one of the strongest repression. The army, the parliament was brought in. Still the party could survive, and still it could float along. Still it could swim along the most difficult tide. And in both phases, 84, 89, it did this. This was very, very tough. And just resisting the police forces, resisting the paramilitary forces was heroic quite just then. And one of his very important things is his orientation of a party. Whatever the level of the struggle, he always emphasized how you make an activity, how you can work, develop a line of the party, whatever errors you make struggle, you must lead by the party, and he gave a lot of emphasis on a centralized party. There were other things raised up. He's very important as a writer. What he wrote about India being semi-feudal, which was very important. A lot of people bringing up thesis that India is capitalist and that imperialism is the main continent. KS refuted it. He also refuted these organs. People who are saying nationalities is the main contradiction. And this was he struggled against it even ideologically and theoretically. KS then went on, and then he also gave a very strong. He gave a strong orientation also ultimately when China went revisionist, he also fought those people who were defending China and saying that China is a socialist country. This is also a significant part of it all. He also wrote on fascism, the whole question of, and he wrote also on the caste movement is very important. A lot of communist revolutionists were paying a deaf ear one time to caste and neglected caste, but he wanted to integrate this question of caste very deeply. And he also there were other things like the question of independence of the Indian state that actually we didn't get true independence in 47. He asserted those points. And then he also wanted to, of course, he didn't succeed in doing, but he also respected other people, other groups, like people like Kanai Chatterjee, people from MCC and this sort of thing. The whole thing is now how we put it in light today, and I think that what perhaps we're missing today is because we have such strong repression today that we're not able to have mass movements like in the earlier. So we see how we can have one thing, even people, organization, the API got demolished and mass organized. So how do we revive mass movements is really important. And I think today even if this struggle is on the uncognized or going on by the Maoists, still we cannot have developed any more in the plain areas. And I think Kondam Vistana this time wrote about how we integrate movements even in plain areas, how we develop those. And then of course the weakness of urban work. And now of course, the other thing is of course he was out of the People's War group, and that is the debate about. That's another point of it. And I think we have to take up this very important point of his whole focal points, what he put in political history. And I think he can be put on par. This whole question of the roots of the movement can be put on par like other leaders put on, like Joe Masuson in Philippines or Gonzalo in Peru and various things. And also I remember how in Mumbai he was admired, how the People's War group was admired. I remember people in Mumbai, like people like Sundar Navalkar, they spoke very highly about the whole People's War, the greatness of the movement and the positivity of the movement of the People's War. And of course, the word could have been errors, like the question of the centralization of the armed activities, the question of whether there was enough integration of arms called with mass movements, enough independence of mass organizations, independent of Mao thought, and whether independent functioning within the mass organization, these points were the integration of squads with mass activities. But I think the whole question was it was a landmark time that KS defined, and a very very important time. And we have to now revive the lesson in a time when even we are almost on the threat also of fascism, of we call proto or neo-fascism. We are on the threat of that. So and we need to now integrate and look at how we build that united front and develop that concept also, how to understand that also. And now of course there are so many divisions even happening in our movement today. So this is where I think we have to remember, and why I also look up to one of K's points. He always respected the strong point of Charu Mazumdar. A lot of people are saying, oh, Charu Mazumdar, errors in Charu. Yes, of course there were gross mistakes, but he defended the very basis and the roots of the work, like some intellectuals today just calling him an anarchist. But he defended it, and I think the very important way that he defended Charu Mazumdar. And he ultimately defended the party, the Marxist-Leninist or Maoist party concept, Mao Zedong thought. And I again, then of course we had they have an international, complex international situation there with we almost on the verge of another war with the crisis in Palestine, Israel and Russia. So we have to take lessons of what KS said at that time also. When this contradiction between, of course, that time we had Soviet social imperialism, there's no more there, but how we take the inter-contradiction of the world. And I think, and is of course the contribution to how the agrarian revolution, we going to resurrect in a form relevant in India today. We have to wear the different types of economy, liberalization and globalization. But still we have to understand how to adapt it in a semi-feudal country. I think that's fine. So I'm very happy again to be here. I'm really privileged that I could honor one of the great communist leaders perhaps ever, in history, and who wrote a landmark. So I finished this. I'm very grateful to be part of it, to address this committee. I thank the audience for listening. Let's salute to all the pleasure.